So last year, inflation was a nasty surprise. I mean, it wasn't supposed to last, but now it's affecting millions of Americans. I mean, when we go and fill up our cars at the gas pump, when you go to the grocery store, if you're looking to buy a used car or even a new car, and as I see every single day in my line of work, on people when it comes to purchasing homes, you are feeling the impacts and the effects of inflation on you and your family. Let's dive in and talk about why inflation in the US is so high, what caused the inflation to increase at such a rapid pace, and what everybody wants to know is how long is this going to last? For the last 12 months ending in January, we have seen inflation climb 7.5% year over year in that 12-month time frame. That is the fastest year-over-year pace since 1982. And these numbers are given to us from the Labor Department. Two of the places that we're feeling this the most are the volatile food as well as energy costs. But even if you toss those out and set those aside, we're still at a 6% inflation rate. And that 6% is the sharpest jump that we've seen in the last 4 decades. Now, consumers, like I said, we felt this in all sorts of places throughout our lives as we're going to buy things and things that we need. Prices rose 41% over the past year for used cars and trucks, 40% for gasoline, 18% for bacon. We're talking about bacon here, an 18% increase year over year, 14% for bedroom furniture, and 11% for women's dresses. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, what does that rate mean? I know it's the fastest, I know it's the highest, but kind of where should we be? What's the average? The Fed's goal is to have an inflation rate of 2% year over year. That's what they're shooting for. That's what they're trying to control and keep us right around that 2% mark. But after being an economic afterthought for years and years and years, we saw in 2021, in February of 21, we were right at that pace. We were sitting at 1.7% ahead, and that's where we're looking at. Now, that being said, from there, the year over year prices accelerated steadily. We saw them go up to 2.7 in March, 4.2 in April, 4.9 in May, 5.3 in June. And it just got worse from there. By October, the figure was 6.2, November 6.8, by December 7.1. Now for months, the feds were thinking that this was all just because of COVID and that it will balance itself out and that we would see those rates come back down to the goal of 2%. However, that hasn't happened yet. The economy has rebounded at a much, much faster pace than anybody could have predicted. And now we expect these elevated rates to continue throughout 2022. So to combat this inflation rate and get us closer to the 2% goal, the Feds announced that starting in March, there are going to be rate hikes to interest rates, which will hopefully combat these inflation percentages. So let's talk about what caused this spike in inflation. And a lot of you probably have guessed this or have known this. It is COVID. COVID is what caused this. When the pandemic hit, it really just paralyzed the economy. Economic output plunged at a rate of 31%, which is insane. Basically, that means that nobody was spending money, right? When the pandemic hit, everybody was concerned about where the economy would go. And so we all just held on to our money, held on to that cash. We didn't want to spend, right? We all hunkered down. We got put into our quarantines, stay at home, all of that good stuff. And so spending really just stopped. On top of the spending stopped, across America, 22 million jobs were cut. And because of that cut and everybody, preparing themselves and getting ready for a brutal downturn and recession, companies cut investment and postponed restocking. Because of all of these combined, we kind of had a perfect storm and a recession happen. But instead of it being a long recession and something that, would have lasted months or potentially even years, the government decided to stimulate the economy, right? A lot of people were given checks to go out and spend more money, and we were able to rebound at an outstanding rate. The economy really only, the recession, the downturn in the economy only lasted like a couple months, right? We were only down for a few months. Now, suddenly, because of those 2 month shortages, when we anticipated a much longer recession, companies had to scramble to try and rebound and get back to restocking their shelves, getting supplies back in, because now demand was through the roof. With demand up and supplies down, companies found that they could increase their prices. They knew that they could pass along those costs onto the consumers, and the consumers would still continually pay. So while the Feds had anticipated a really slow economic rebound from the pandemic, we found that that did not happen. That was not the case. And now we have these crazy inflation rates. The question is now, how long is this going to last? The Associated Press said many economists foresee inflation staying well above the Fed's 2% target this year, but relief from higher prices might be coming. Jammed up supply chains are beginning to show some signs of improvement in some industries. The Fed's sharp pivot away from easy money policies toward a more hawkish anti-inflationary policy could slow the economy and reduce consumer demand. There will be no repeat of last year's COVID-19 relief checks from Washington. So again, what they're doing to combat all of this is the Feds are going to be raising interest rates across the board. And this is where it really plays into the industry of real estate that I'm in and that I focus on. What I want you to know is that as the Feds increase these rates, it's going to affect your buying power. So if you've had any thoughts of purchasing a home, or you want to be able to move, whether you're looking to upgrade, downgrade, buy your first home, whatever it may be, we need to look at getting you locked into an interest rate before the Feds have these rate hikes. It's going to affect your ability to purchase a home. Prices are anticipated to continually raise, and with prices raising and interest rates raising, you could potentially just be priced out of the market. And if your goal is to buy a home, that is the last thing I want to see happen to you. We really want to help you accomplish your goals and help you do what's best for you and your family. We need to get into conversation, have a dialogue about this, set those goals, get your clear game plan put together so that you can understand what you need to focus on and what you need to do to accomplish those goals. To continue to be informed and stay up to date on all things real estate, especially in this great state of Utah that we live, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can know anytime we send out an update. Thanks.